You ready, Ms. Martin? I want to welcome everybody. April 17th, 2018, 6:01. I'd like to call this meeting to order, and at this time I need approval of the agenda. A motion?
So moved, Chairman.
Second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. It's our honor tonight to have Associate Pastor Reason Hope from the Greenway Baptist Church, who will be doing our invocation and pledge.
Our Heavenly Father, thank you so much for an opportunity for us to meet tonight. God, I ask that you would be with every conversation, every decision made, and that you would be honored in every bit of it. We seek to bring you glory in all that we do. Thank you for this county, and thank you for those who represent it. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir.
Starting off tonight, consent agenda, and for approval of the minutes, we have the work session on April 3rd, 2018 at 5 o'clock p.m. First Tuesday, April 3rd, 2018, and executive session, April 3rd, 2018. Everybody had an opportunity to look at it?
Motion to approve. Second.
Motion approved for a second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Ayes have it. Thank you. New business night, we won't have number 1 on the first reading of the ordinance, of the water sewer ordinance. That will be postponed to the next meeting. Mr. Petrowski, you'll be presenting. Is Mr. Petrowski here? He stepped out for a minute. All right, let's skip over and get Tim an opportunity to come back. Here he comes. Here he comes. Mr. Petrowski, are you ready? No problem. You'll be doing our comprehensive land development resolution amendment.
Yes, sir. To amend the zoning regulations, we have to go through a process. First step was y'all would make a motion to begin that process, and it'll come back to you in about 2 months. I provided you with some sample text. If we want to amend the regulations to allow for a larger lot coverage for commercial development, if it's provided with public sewer, making this change would do that to the zoning regulations. This was in response to a concern brought to me by one of the commissioners, so presenting y'all with the text, see what you want to do.
Commissioner Kitchens, I think this was one of your requests. You want to comment on it? And
I do, and I think this is, I think it's needed because I think when the ordinance was originally written, it was talking about very rural, very unincorporated areas where there was, you needed space for bleeder fields and septic tanks and that type. So, but as we get closer to town, you know, people have a capability of tying onto a city sewer, and the lot sizes are smaller, so we're not required to have that 50% land area to run a sewer system on. I mean a septic system on. So I think this would allow for those situations instead of doing them as one-offs. I think we allow it in the ordinance, and then as we grow, the ordinance is accountable.
That said, you want to start off with a motion to?
I do, and if I had the wording again where
Say however Tim said it.
yeah, exactly how Tim said it. Make a motion that we amend the comprehensive land development resolution to increase the maximum lot coverage for commercial and industrial districts to 80% when provided with public sewer. Is that proper?
Motion to begin the text amendment process.
Motion to begin the text amendment process
We have
to
a
increase
motion.
maximum lot coverage commercial and industrial districts to 80% when provided with public sewer. Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? Commissioner Pitts, we're voting on an amendment to increase the lots coverage size on commercial lots provided with sewer to 80%.
Good. Good.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Any more discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Petrowski.
Thanks, sir.
New business, number 3 was approval to go out for bid for striping the 2018 LMIG Maintenance Improvement Grant roads. Mr. Risner, is this?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. We're out for bid right now on the actual road work, the resurfacing and full depth reclamation and those items. This is requesting approval to go out for the striping piece. Typically, we bid out the striping separate from the actual road paving work, and so this would just be approval to go ahead out for bid on the striping.
Any questions for Mr. Risner?
There's been some discussion about the paint used and visibility of, let's look at optional bids on higher reflectivity in the paint.
Okay.
Maybe a longer lasting paint.
Yeah.
And just see if the dollar amounts, pay more up front and get a longer lasting product.
Absolutely.
I think we add that into the bid process, please.
Any more questions for Mr. Risner? None. I need a motion to approve to go out for bid for striping.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Motion, we have a second? Second. Any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed, have an ayes have it. Thank you. We have another bid request approval to go out for bid for construction of Jones County Trails Phase 2 at 6 locations under Transportation Enhancement Grant, PI 0010.
Mr. Chairman, excited to mention this tonight, and Commissioner Pitts might have some remarks as well, but we're at the point now where we're ready to go out for bid on this transportation enhancement project, and the board's previously approved a couple of agreements related to this. Just as some background information for you, the schedule from now until the bid award would look something like 4 weeks of advertisement in the newspaper, and then we'll do going to do a pre-bid meeting. Bids will be received, I can't remember, sometime mid-May, I believe it is, and then you would have the bid award for your consideration. I believe it's the June 5th meeting of this board. So that's the timeline we're on right now, and just asking for the board's approval to go ahead out for bid.
Any questions or comments, Commissioner Pitt?
No, it's just something I'm really proud of. It's something we've worked a long time. It's taken us a couple of years to get here, but I'm happy to know that we are here. And I understand with the process, may be some changes along the way, but at least we're here. We're getting the process moved along, and hopefully have something to enjoy in a couple of months.
Good thing. Any more questions or comments? If none, I need a motion.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion. We have a second. Second. All in favor? If no discussion, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. You ready? Approved contract with Morris Bank for the purchase and naming rights of Highway 18 complex to the Morris Bank Recreation Complex.
Mr. Chairman,
You're busy tonight.
I am. This is something I believe we talked about at our last meeting, and Frank and I have worked with Morris Bank on the language in the agreement, and so what you have before you, I'll just hit a few of the high points and maybe turn it over to Frank for any comments that he has. Basically, this would be a 10-year agreement for naming the Highway 18 Recreation Complex. There's an option to renew for an additional 10 years after that, assuming both parties can agree upon a yearly investment there. The name of the facility would be the Morris Bank Recreation Complex. And then on the sign, we would also have a Jones County Recreation Department facility. And then the dollar amounts, I think Matt Goins brought to you last time. It's a total of $49,000 that will be paid over the course of 7 years, $7,000 each year. Morris Bank will also be doing approximately $25,000 of signage work there at the park, constructing some some new signage outside the park on 18 and then closer in, and also some on the concession stands. I think those were the high points. Frank, anything else?
No, I think that pretty much covers it. I think this is actually the 6th draft. We've dealt with Morris Banks' attorney. No major things, just had to get the wordage just right, the verbiage for everybody. Of course, we can still sell sponsorship to other entities, any businesses, individuals who want to put signs to other places. That's certainly to be allowed. No bar to that. So I think what Jason said pretty well sums it up.
So, I mean, like the scoreboards and all, I think I saw some sponsorships. Some of those are still up. We're all right on that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We're not limited to.
No, this is just the naming the park and the concession stands, and having signs on the main roads out there.
Sure.
We'll help with. And I think Jason mentioned the 10-year option if everything's going well and both sides want to renew it, and if we can agree on a price at that time.
Because I did have one question. I was reading the thing was talking about the maintenance of the sign, like the lighting of it. It's our responsibility to maintain the lighting. Because I was just only concerned if it's an LED sign, the lights could get a little expensive. But I don't foresee it preventing us from
That
moving
is a
forward.
provision. If it's damaged to anything, they have to pay to repair it.
Okay.
Maintenance will be up to the county.
Okay.
Any more questions or comments? If none, I need a motion.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Any more discussion? None. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Oh, ayes have it. Very much.
Thank you.
All right. Ready, Ms. Martin? Moving on to old business, insurance services.
Hey.
Okay, I came 2 weeks ago to give an update. Y'all clarified some things. I went back to our brokers and asked told them the information, requested it. I think we're good with the bill reconciliation, the 1094s, 1095s, the claims, the updates on the claims. We got everything straightened out with that. The information you wanted on the commissions, they were only able to give me last year's information because they have not received this year's information. Also, they were not able to give us any options, different options for medical, vision, dental, supplemental for our next year. They're starting to shop now and haven't got anything back yet. I gave y'all all the information that was given to me. So I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it. If you had any questions.
Any questions from Ms. Shannon? Do we have any, we're gonna go out to shop for future? I mean, we got 2 months. You know, we brought up in January that we wanted to get us started ahead of time, and I don't mind. I like I said, for the good of the county. I've checked around, talked to different counties and all, and it's a lot of them they're way ahead of the ball game. Our neighbor counties. Putnam County actually started in January, February, and March. They were working on looking at where we're at, where we're going, was possibilities, not waiting to the last minute. Neighbor Monroe County is the same way. They're already, getting ready for their October. So, I mean, I'm afraid we're getting caught again. We need to have full, we need to start earlier. We got this same position last year. We got right at the last minute. I don't feel like we've been able to look at all our resources and options. I know talking with, and I've done a lot of research on this, we spent a lot of time last year going through interviews and whatnot, different ideas. ACCG has thrown at us opportunities we need to look at. Are we going to have the time in the 2 months to do this? I mean, I've heard of HRA, we need to look into that. That was, you know, different options that we can go into.
Mhm.
And I guess those other counties, Monroe County and Putnam County, they using, I guess, like brokers, they using the, okay.
Broker. But I mean, I reached out to, I mean, I called the administrator with Putnam and just asked him, you know, and he said that, like we, excuse me, like we tried to, they started looking at their options in January, February, March. They were already looking at it, and they already had a predicted of a 1.5% increase, but they were in the process of negotiating to see if they could get that to a negative, meaning the savings for them, because they had a good year. Monroe County, talked with the chairman in Monroe County. He said October they make their decision, and they had the first major report come in today as far as exactly what, you know, what they're looking at, what to expect, give them ideas, things we need to look at. They're getting some good reports. That's great. I mean, that's what we need to know. You know, on the other flip side of that, if we're having bad reports,
We need to know that too.
we know to start tightening our belt, you know, our belt strings, because we're getting ready to have to pay some extra. So this is the kind of stuff we've got to, going forward, we've got to have. We've got to know where we're at, full accountability and transparency. We're not asking for a whole lot. Putnam County gets a monthly report on insurance. Monroe County said they get monthly and quarterly. This is their quarterly. Today was their quarterly report.
Is that on commissions as well? Or is it just on the
Well, they're not
claims?
on a flat, you know, they're not on a flat fee basis. I asked them how they said on a commission basis, but they said that they receive them monthly, and then they get the quarterly updates, and that's what I was literally walking into today when I got a call from Monroe County. He said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we just got our quarterly for." They renew in December, but he said October we're making our decision on where we're going with our insurance for the following policy period. So we got to stay ahead of the game. We got to have the time to shop, look at our options, explore. Because I mean, I've heard of all these great ideas and options that we can look at. I think we done got down to the wire. We're not going to have enough time to look into it.
Both of those are in the ACCG pool.
One actually they had opted out, and Monroe, let's see, Monroe I know has opted out. Oh, I'm sorry. Monroe has opted out, and they actually opted out of the ACCG pool. I asked them that. They said they were able to save by going out of the ACCG pool. Now, I did not confirm that with Putnam, but both said that, you know, they were well aware of where they're going with their next, you know, policy period, what to expect. Any other discussion?
And you said Monroe County signs in December. They're on a calendar year, or they on
Chairman Tarpley told me that their renewal is in December, but October they've already made their decision and on their future policy, and they're going through it. I mean, they got their first report as of today, and they said as of October they would have made their decision for December. And again, the Monroe they've got monthly and quarterly reports to go with. So, and I told them, you know, we were looking for quarterly reports, and I'll be honest with both of them, said, "Oh, you need to be getting monthly too." They said, "You'll be surprised, you know, you need to get both." And I can see where monthly will give us a month to month where we're at, easier to track that way. Any other discussion?
We beat this dead horse for years, at least I've been beating on it. And we sat here and went through all of the stuff we went through last year, and you all didn't make a decision. And we're here again. So I'm going to say either make a decision, go direct into ACCG, and that'll give you some time to do a full vetting if you're going to do that again next year. But at least with ACCG, you're going to get the information you asked for. It's hard to do business with people who make a promise and then don't follow through, and that's the issue. Information that we need to make good decisions to save our taxpayers money and to do right by the county and its citizens. So My vote A would be go direct to ACCG so we can at least get the ball rolling. And I give you an opportunity to vet the system, vet other opportunities, or go through that process and trust Shannon and whomever the new broker or new client will be, or service provider, to get us into a product and service that's going to meet our needs. It's that simple. It's going to be a little painful, but at least you'll get what you need.
Any other discussion?
Do we have total numbers on what we've spent on insurance this past year than we did the year before? Because I remember going through this bid process and we did have a savings of what we paid from the year before. So we went through the process, we vetted it, we looked at it. We were told at that time that ACCG couldn't provide directly what we were asking for. And we did have a savings, so I don't know that I agree we didn't do anything. We did do something there just because we didn't change brokers. We did vet the process and actually found some savings by going through it. I do think we we need to get all our resources, all our reports, and start looking at earlier. We have talked about that for the last 2 years, that getting started earlier so we can get everything out and get it figured out before time to sign.
More discussion or questions? Anything else from HR?
What direction do you want me to go with this?
Well, being that I think our brokers are in the room this evening, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman, just ask them, maybe they can give us some little insight on what's going on and maybe what we can do to maybe get those reports on a monthly, quarterly basis, and what can we do to, I guess, to speed up the process, since that seems to be, the concern of the board.
Absolutely. Y'all want to come
So
forward?
we need to share, with the board.
Thank you for your time. One of the plans, like you're talking about, Mr. Chairman, is an ASO plan. That's a self-insured plan that they're on. When you're on a self-insured plan, you can get reports monthly. You own the plan, it's yours, they can provide you. If you're on a fully insured plan, they only provide it quarterly.
Okay, so that's the difference.
They aren't the reason they can get started. They own the plan. And they've come out of the ACCG, and that's a 3-year absentee if you come out. We're ready to shop it now, and I admit the window's small to shop it. But a carrier, like the major carriers, when we send it to them, which we will do them once we get the renewal, we could go to a carrier today and ask for a quote without the old rates and new rates and the latest claims. They won't quote. I mean, if they do, if they send you some figures, but they won't, then the figures are not going to hold until they get that renewal. Well, we don't get the renewal to the end of April, right before May the 1st. Well, the day we get it, it goes out to every carrier. I mean, it goes out immediately. And then when it comes back in, then we do a spreadsheet on who's competitive, who's not competitive. We also, on the Blue Cross plan, we'll have, like if you want to look at an HRA, it will be on there, and the cost will be there. If you want to look at raising the deductible, low deductible, changing co-pays, we have all of that. We provide all of that and the price. And once we get it back by showing the carrier the old rates, new rates, then those prices will hold. And then I'll admit we don't have much time to look at it, but that's just the way a fully insured. Right, they will not give them out until the 60 days in advance. At that time, we go to work feverishly. We're already loading up and stuff, and hopefully we provide enough through Plan Source to save the county some money on. I know the HR department, once they get seeing a lot of this stuff that we can do or have done for them, that saves the county money, saves time, money, employees, keeps them in compliance. But the key to going faster on a fully insured plan is against an ASO, which is a self-insured plan. They're two different animals, two different totally they work different, because they would have to pay the claims above a certain gap or stop loss. So if they had a bad year, they could get hit pretty hard. It could fall back on the taxpayers. Based on previous loss runs here, no, the carriers don't recommend it for you. Now, that don't mean you can't go to one, but be prepared to have some losses.
Right. Well, it was kind of explained to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you know, the county can, let's just say, let's throw out a number. So we had a high deductible. Say the county, we had a $5,000 deductible on employees. The employees would have a $1,500 deductible, and the county would pick up the remainder of that deductible. But
the HRA,
right? But the savings would be that not all the employees would use $5,000 for the deductible.
Correct.
So that money that's in that, I hope I call it right, 'cause I'm gonna research it again next week when I'm at ACCG. That money goes back into the county fund to be used for maybe reducing premiums or something, or.
Well, you don't have to really set the money. You do have to be responsible for it, but you just don't have to pay out the money.
Sure.
How an HRA works, you're going to put your part on the rear end. The employee's going to pay say it's $1,500 deductible, or what on a $5,000, which means that the county would be on the hook for the $3,500 after the $15,000.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you would pay that claim out of a fund or set it up. It wouldn't, as far as the savings goes, you just didn't have to pay the claim, and you would save the money. You had the savings there. And an HRA, we looked at some last year. We'll look at them this year. It's just that you know that you're on the hook for the $3,500.
Right. But, you know, and you put it in your budget for $3,500, but you know, it was explained to me that really and truly at the end of the year, not all the employees will use that deductible, so you end up with that still in your fund balance of unused, you know, dedicated funds.
And I have seen it, Chairman, that some of that you could raise the deductible up or lower it, and it maybe not impact the premium as much, and then you're off the hook. So we got to look at that and point that out to you. That even though that it has potential savings, it also has potential losses. Now, once we show you that, that's a decision that y'all would have to make based on the facts we give you.
Right now, Putnam was on HRA. They did confirm that. I did not confirm that with Monroe because Greg said I need to check into that. Putnam's like $2,000. County picks up $1,500. Employees are only $500.
And that would be up for y'all. We would give you the figures, and that would be a decision based on the figures we give you to decide how high you want to go, how much risk you want to take.
But it was all based on, you know, obviously the higher deductible, the cheaper the premium.
Correct.
So I mean, you have to look at these options, and like I said, we got 2 months to do that right now. But, I mean, when you're at these ACCG, like we're getting ready to go to next week, and you're meeting with our ACCG reps that are sitting there telling us, you really need to look into this, you really need, and they're saying, you need to look at this HRA because it's great. You start explaining all the benefits and all to us. I mean, that's just.
And we looked at them last year, and we'll look at them this year, given the opportunity. I promise you the figures will be out there.
Could you guys compare our plan to, I guess, with the Putnam County's plan, being that they're use a broker? Is that possible to compare?
Well, they're a self-insured plan.
Okay, so that's okay. That's totally
that's
different.
not apples and oranges. I mean, that's apples and oranges.
Right, you couldn't do that. Yeah.
But it's just self-insured to the amount of the deductible. It's not self-insured beyond that.
No, it is. A self-insured plan is insured up to they pick an aggregate of 25,000. Theirs may be 50,000. Okay, the county would say it's 50,000, and you got to get it pretty high to get your premium down. Right. The county is on the hook for the first 50,000. Then a reinsurer comes in and takes care of the rest. Here's the downfall, and we do all of them. So I'm just letting you have some information. If you go on a self-insured plan, and then that's fine if we're comfortable with it and we feel good about it, and you have a bad year and you get a couple of employees that have a $250,000, $500,000 claim, and they are out there. And if they still on the plan, what can happen, the reinsurer can laser that account. And what a laser means, that the county, the reinsurer says, okay, I'll take 100,000 of this claim, but anything above 100, the county's got to pay it. And you will have to sign off on it. I mean, they will put it to you in writing, and you have to sign that you're going to accept any claim over, and that's part of self-insured.
And correct me if I'm wrong too, Mr. Chairman, doesn't Macon Bibb aren't they self-insured?
Yes.
And that's some of the problems that they've run into. Their insurance rates have gone up. Come on, comment, Sam. have gone up.
No, I'll keep my job.
So, but self-insured is an issue they run into.
Sam,
Macon Bibb's consolidation was a great thing. It saved everybody a lot of money, from what I understand.
We were involved in part of the Macon Bibb stuff last year, and they have taken
a hit.
And it can happen.
Right.
I mean, the self-insured plans are not near as popular as they used to be because of health conditions. But I'll assure you that any plan design you want to see that's in the state of Georgia, we can put it on your desk to look at.
Sure.
That's not a problem.
I am surprised that some of the smaller counties have self-insured plans. I mean, I understand with consolidated governments or big governments because they, you know, their pay-in kind of equals out to the number of losses or the number of claims. And yeah, Macon Bibb has had some huge increases in the last 2 years in claim payouts, you know, where averaging $200,000 or $300,000 payout a year and you jump into the $4 or $5 million range. It's huge, you know, but that's the benefits of being self-insured for 15 years, and all of a sudden you get a couple of years of really bad years. They can supposedly absorb those bad years, and I don't understand how a small county like Putnam or Monroe can absorb that unless they've got a very healthy workforce or a very good wellness program or some real good incentives to keep their employees.
And they're very lucky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks probably got something to do with
It's
it.
always something we need to research further. Ask questions. Like I said, we'll have the opportunity while it's going was next week to our conference in Savannah. The people to ask those questions to will be sitting there.
And we send for a self-insured plan, when they see the stuff, a lot of them will come back and say, you're really not a good candidate for it. We don't want you in here coming out of your pool when you got all these potential claims. And we have to produce them.
Are we looking at staying in the pool and coming out of the pool each
We're
year?
going to look both. We're going to look at staying in the pool, and we're going to look at coming out of the pool with every carrier.
Because I know every county's different situation, but we've heard stories of coming out of the pool was good for one, and they were good for 2 years, and all of a sudden they were bad and couldn't go back in for another year or 2 years.
When you come out of the pool, you're out for 3 years, and the year that you come out of the pool, if you have a bad year with the carrier that's not in the pool, your renewal is based on your claims and this. And if they're bad, the renewal will be bad because it's you. It's not pool. If you have a good year, then your renewal should be good, and that's just simply how they do it. And it is, you look at your track record of, do I think I want to take the risk for self-insured based on who we got, based on my census, based on my workforce, my age. And
Any more questions for the board?
I got them for Shannon. Do you have any of this information, any reports that we were promised over the last year so you can at least make educated decisions about our health plan?
I have one set of the claims, quarterly claims,
What quarter was that?
this past quarter.
This past quarter. So for 3 previous quarters, we got nothing.
And I don't know if Chris had it or if they sent it to Margie or.
they were sent to the county, sir.
They were sent to the county.
All right.
Sure.
But can we get an extra copy if we misplace our copy for whatever reason?
Sure.
Okay, so that we can get another copy, you guys can review it.
Should have all 3 copies now, but we will
Get a
have
copy if you
them.
need to.
Any more questions? All right, well, like I said, if you can get with Miss Shannon and Jason with your findings, that way we can.
And one, though, Chairman, just to be clear, everything else other than claims is sent on an annual basis, right? not quarterly. And the difference between a self-insured getting quarterly and us not being able to get quarterly is just because they are self-insured and we're on a different plan.
Their self-insured plan is administered by TPA. TPA, which is called a third-party agreement, that TPA provides that report to the self-insured. They charge a fee for it and for administer it, but they send you that report because they pay the claims. So they got it and they can send it to you.
Any more questions? Well, we're thinking, like I said, we'll look into this and see what our best options are and go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Shannon. Department head. Felke? You're good? Well, we got a shortage of department head tonight. Mr. Risner?
I'll jump in and give a quick update on, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go.
Oh, okay. I thought somebody said something. On one item that we discussed last time, as I recall, the board asked Don Graham and I to look into a light there at Chapman Road and 49 near that construction zone. And I think the chairman reached out to DOT and found that they don't have plans to install one there. I've talked with Don. He's got a similar light somewhere else that he said runs about $30 a month. There's a Tri-County EMC pole right there adjacent to or close to the intersection where we may be able to mount a light. And Don said that we've basically got 4 months left in the fiscal year. Don said that he's got money that he can move from another line item in his budget to cover, $120 or so for that light. So if the board's okay with it, we'll go ahead and proceed with having that light installed.
Any questions or discussion? Consensus is all right for Ms. Risner to go forward and look into the light? The
Yes.
DOT, they did finally return my call. They were nice. It took a while, but they said they were doing the research. And they said they do know that utilities in that area had been moved. There was nothing in the plans to replace the light with there. They said they didn't doubt there wasn't one there. Commissioner Robertson said that you said it was old as what?
Not lately, it was.
Right, but years ago. But with that being said, we did check in, and there was no immediate plan. Was no plan in the plan to reinstall the light. They said it was basically based on private or county entities what they considered it. So, all right. Anything else on department head?
I think that's one item that we discussed in the past month or so is money for water capital projects. And just before this meeting tonight, I met with Tim Ingram and Jeffrey and Levita, and we're going through looking at the water budget out a couple years, trying to determine a comfortable amount that we've got available there that we could allocate for capital projects. And we did some work on that just before this meeting. I don't have anything official for the board just yet, but in the next couple of weeks should be ready to come back to the board with a presentation on that.
That's great. Is that all?
I think that's all.
Chairman, one question about DOT that, since we're talking about DOT, the bypass. We had some complaints about the turning lane coming off 129 north onto the bypass. The turning lane onto the bypass, the reflectors wasn't bright enough. People were not seeing which lane to be in. I actually called them and said, is there something we can look at since we're doing some work on the bypass? And I was impressed with the solution that they made with the median there. We had about an 18-inch drop off. So if you got too far on the inside, you fall off in the abyss there. They came back and flushed that out with some concrete, put some striping, and put some plastic bollards up there with reflectors on them. But we still didn't get any reflectors on the road to know which lane you're in when you're turning. Can you make a follow-up call on that and see if we can get some of those?
Can I clarify that?
Yeah.
On my, I'm supposed to meet with GDOT Friday, and one thing they asked me to do is have a list of concerns we have with the bypass that I could present to them so they could look into it through this meeting.
All right, well, that's one. Let me give you number two. So you can go ahead and give them to him for his list. I understand, or I hear rumor that they're talking about the Green Settlement not being able to cross Green Settlement.
They're gonna do that.
I'm sorry?
They're gonna put a divider in there.
That is a big problem for me.
Do what? Repeat.
I understand that they're gonna put a divider in the bypass so that you can't just cut straight across Green Settlement. That you have to only right turn, so you'll have to go up, make a U-turn back. The reason I have a problem is that we have 8 buses a day that come through there with kids on it. I don't want them turning right and going up and making a U-turn on the bypass coming back down. First responders, it's gonna absolutely slow their response time down. Why we would have a designed U-turn in the middle of with no lights? How are you going to design a U-turn in the middle of a 65-mile-an-hour zone with no turn lanes 55. And no lights, or 55? I just think, and another economic problem we're going to have is people coming down Green Settlement into Gray to spend their money. Once they turn right, because they got to go all the way down to Skinner's area to turn back around, they're within sight of the red light to turn right and go to Macon. I doubt seriously we'll get them to turn back and come back to Gray and spend their money.
Sure. Well, I've invited Sheriff Reese. He's also going to accompany me at this meeting to meet with GDOT, come in with a list of concerns, ideas. I've reached out to a lot of the locals, and they just feel like, the signage would be a caution light, stoplight combination with a little bit better signage, maybe something like what Putnam County's using. I'm referring to our neighbor counties, but we get ideas from our neighbors, and they're using I think it's a solar powered LED stoplight that flashes, and
they're going
gets your
all
attention.
over the place.
Right, they're going up all over the place. So that's been a big concern, and most everybody has felt like, even Sheriff Reese said that we haven't had I think Travis can verify, we haven't had a whole lot of issues with Green Settlement with accidents, have we, Travis?
We've had a few accidents there when it first opened up, but here recently we haven't had very many. But I was there the first day that they opened up the bypass over there at the roundabout. Myself and 300 sat out there all day long and watched that roundabout from the time they opened it to the time they left that day. But we haven't had any recently. We've had a couple of good ones there at that intersection, but nothing recently. In our roundabout, we are talking about that meeting. We talked to some of the people up there at ER Snell doing the roundabout, and they did mention that they were going to put one of those dividers there, like you got at Highway 57 and Henderson Road. Of course, I don't know if that's the final thing I was telling you when they told me when I was out there. But so that's what I know about that part of it.
That's a great example. When you come off Henderson Road coming from Twiggs County, you can't come across and come into Jones. You got to turn right and go down to the next turnaround and come back south. Right. So, and my last thing off my soapbox, Chairman, communication. Can we put that on the list? I had no idea until I heard about it today that it's according to them, close to a done deal. You would think. I know it's their road, but it's our county that it's in. So I'd like to know what their plans are.
I found out, I had calls for the last couple of weeks, and then I got the invitation yesterday to meet with GDOT. That's when I started making the call. So
yeah, just communication would go a long way.
Okay, but you making a list of all this for me, so I won't have to try to remember it all?
Yeah.
But no, we meet with them Friday, and they did express an interest to bring any concerns we had so they could try to address them. So if y'all have any, you'll share them with Mr. Risner so I can carry them with me, I would be more than happy to carry them with me.
When can I ask a question?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
When can I ask a question?
Hold on a minute. Let me get through commissioners' comments, and I will let you got something about what we're talking about now?
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, just
come on forward and introduce yourself. That way, everybody at home that's watching this, and
you may already have this covered. I don't know. But I was coming down 18 toward the bypass to get on Gray Highway to turn left, and there at the red light, that light stayed green about 5 seconds. And that's not long enough for school buses and 18-wheelers to come through there.
Real quick for the record, can you give us her name and your
I'm
address?
sorry.
No problem. We know who you are, but about.
Jan Andrews,
Uh-huh. And your address for the record?
122 Yukon Road,
Okay.
Macon.
Right, what was your first name again?
Jan, Jan. I get ahead of myself.
Thank you very.
Okay.
Anything else? Thank
That's
you.
it.
I think Travis wanted to comment, Chairman.
Go ahead. If your comment, we're talking about the bypass, it's, hey, okay, great. We need to hear some ideas. If y'all got them, we'll take them right now.
Butch Hart, 177 Spring Lake Road, Gray. If you're coming in from Eaton, if you're coming in from Eaton, it's me. Right before you get to the bypass, you're coming around a curve and there's a lot of trees there on that road. If I'm a tree person, so I don't like to just cut tree for tree, but if that was cleared out, you could see the bypass, the roundabout, maybe at least a half a mile in advance. Otherwise, when you got people coming in, I live out that way, so I know it, so I'm careful, but people that's coming through, that all of a sudden they're on it because they couldn't see it. If those trees were thinned out or gone on that curve, it would make it a lot safer. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else while we're on the bypass? Got any comments?
Travis.
Travis, come on forward and introduce yourself.
Yeah.
You got to come all the way forward.
I'm not planning on speaking, but, okay, I was gonna comment on her.
Remember who's watching this on, remember who's watching this.
I see, I wasn't planning on saying anything.
I know Sheriff Reese is watching this.
Right. The bypass situation is those people that are coming up there to the intersection, you're not supposed to turn right on the red arrow. And we debated that with some of the citizens. We stopped, made some stops, and they were like, well, no, you can't. You can't turn right on a red arrow. And we've got the state to put a sign up that says no right turn on red on an arrow. If it's designated as an arrow, it has to be green if it's red to go. And what's happening is people are coming up there and they're not paying attention, and they think they can turn right on red, and they're bypassing your sensor, and it's tripping out your sensor, and so that timing's messing up on that sensor. And that's what's causing that issue. So it might just be an issue with somebody needs to come and check that sensor. It needs to be extended. And of course, y'all see the enforcement of people. You know, we're stopping, educate. We're not necessarily writing tickets on that. We're just saying, hey, look, you can't turn right on red here. It's an issue. But that's what's happening with the with the turn. Oh, you're turning left. You're turning right. Because turning right's messing those sensors up too. Okay. Because there's a pressure sensor on those things. When people get in that in that lane to turn, it messes the whole cycle of lights up. It changes. So
wow.
And we're getting calls about that, about the lights and things. And most of the time it's to deal with the pressure sensor. Maybe somebody's not up far enough, or somebody hit it hit it there for just a second and then turn right on red. And then you've got I think it's an issue with that.
Wow.
Thank you.
So, all right.
Thank you, sir. You'll sit down now, okay? Anyone else about the bypass while we're on that subject?
Yeah.
Ms. Payne, I need to move your seat up here up front, don't I, so you can hear?
Tom Payne, 242 Hitchley Road. Find something to throw at you. Whose idea? I mean, why are we putting a blockade across Green Settlement Road? What's the issue? That's the first I've heard about.
That's Georgia Department of Transportation. That's going to be, I guess, a question I need to ask Friday.
I mean, well, why not put a roundabout there?
Don't know.
Because that's not what they determined was best for that area.
Well, I have encountered the Henderson blockade down there, and yeah, I didn't particularly like that, having to go up towards the industrial park and making a U-turn coming back around that way, and to go where I was going. And I don't know. I don't think the residents are going to be very happy with that at all.
I haven't had anybody that likes it yet, so
Well, I mean, how do they know? I mean, where's it been? Where's it been publicized?
Well, I found out yesterday. I mean, I had people calling me prior to the call, so that okay. I mean, seriously, I got the email invite yesterday, wanting to know if we can meet. The last conversation I had with the GDOT was the roundabout was going, but any further action, what they weren't going to take it. But then I started receiving phone calls, concerns that Snell said that their next project was Green Settlement Road, and then I got the official request to meet with me yesterday per email, and that's when I started making calls, and I invited the sheriff to go with me so we could
So you found out about this within the last couple of days?
yesterday to be exact. That's correct. Yesterday to be exact.
Yesterday, to be exact. Okay, well, I think that's going to be a hardship on the community up that way.
I think the signage.
I mean, a lot of people use Green Settlement Road.
Correct.
Okay, and yeah, so you got to go up and then turn around. That's just going to be dangerous.
Right.
So it's not good on 57.
We'll bring these concerns to their attention Friday, along with any other concerns. That's why I said this time while we're on this subject, if anybody in the audience has got some input, it would be great that ideas we might not have thought of. A little out of the norm, but it's needed to cover this. So, for Friday.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? All right, let's move on. Commissioner's comment. Commissioner Martin, let's start first tonight.
Sure. Thanks to Morris Bank for taking interest in our parks and partnering with us. It makes a difference. We're excited about it. Looking forward to the signage and see how that works out. I'm sure it'll be great. If you can put us a big, Otis Redding sign up, that would be fantastic. Next time, all right? I'm not sure if the Board of Ed did this or our Parks and Rec, but we have sand at the high school long jump pit. So our kids are actually jumping into a soft surface. So to whomever did it, thank you. They appreciated that very much. So much so that they went up to Clayton County this past week and broke a few records, and we're going to district this week. So excited about that. Thanks to the cleanup crew. I understand we did a really good job, competed pretty good, maybe put another district to shame. So I want to thank them. Great idea, Commissioner Kitchens, to get something like that going. It makes a difference, gets community buy-in. And lastly, I still feel like my insurance plan was sold to me by a used car sales guy. I want what you promised us last year. It shouldn't take a year to get some of this stuff in. Our Human Resource Department can't make good decisions off of the information that we were promised. I'm still a firm believer that we go to ACCG Direct, save us some money, and get what we need. And if we want to vet other companies in the future, we have a stable way to do that without feeling pressed because they already have our information. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Robinson?
I'm good, thank you.
Commissioner Pitt?
Just want to thank Jason for all of his hard work on getting us to this point. We can get to this bidding process on the Transportation Enhancement Grant. It's been a long time coming, so thank you for your hard work on that project, as well as everybody else that was involved with it. I also thank Morris State Bank for, like I said, being partners with us. It's something that was brought to us by Commissioner Robinson about the possibility of doing some naming rights, and I appreciate you guys buying into the idea, and really appreciate that. And it's something I'm going to ask Jason and the chairman to review with us. I think it was in 2016, there was an economic development plan that was put together by the regional commission. And I want to make sure that you guys are aware of it and see if we need to maybe revise it to try to bring some business and industry to Jones County. And I heard some good news that the guys are back on Stallings Road, working on making those improvements. So a lot of good things are happening. And I just think about just a lot of good stuff going on. I felt like we're breaking ground to a brighter Jones County. When you think about the library that's going on, you think about the inclusive playground, and you think about what's going on with our Board of Education, with the Career Academy, and the athletic department. So Jones County has a bright future, and I'm hoping it's going to only be brighter. And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Mr. Kitchen, you don't get to start yet. We got a presentation today. But wait a minute.
That's right.
We got two presentations. I've got a couple people have asked for a recount. They want to open your bags and sit and clean up kitchen. Dave,
Tell them there was no Chads in that one.
you got to receive it. You see, he had District 1 already put on this trophy. Didn't you purchase this trophy?
It ain't cocky if you can back it up. That's what I always heard.
Oh, we got to do that. On our cleanup Jones County, District 1, how many bags did y'all pick up?
I don't know. It's on the
194.
194. That's right.
And 23 tires.
23 tires.
After some protests, I understand, with some other districts that wanted to clean up Jones County. Congratulations.
So we'll leave that for everybody to look at. My speech is going to be that I only picked up a few bags, but we had probably 150 volunteers, a little over 150. And I mean, each district was represented. The city of Gray was represented. We cleaned up around all the major shopping centers, some in Clinton. I mean, everywhere we could reach, we cleaned up something. But to me, the community that showed up and really got involved to pick up the litter on the side of the road, just that community involvement. And the mayor said it perfectly well when we were standing up there. There's no winners and losers. When you look at a whole roll-off full of trash bags heaped up, that's the win. You know, that's exactly what everybody won from. So, but I do want to give a shout out to District 4, who was a close second. They had neighborhood associations, they had small businesses, they had some firemen over there in that area that really pulled together and picked up a lot of bags. I think they were 120, 125. I mean, they were close, but
you had them scared for a while.
It just shows that everybody's interested in this. We had the Girl Scouts, DA's office, fire department, local businesses. We just had every group in our neighborhoods were doing something. And I'll keep saying this. We're always going to have these as long as we have the litter problem. So I think the bigger part of it is educating people that you can't just throw stuff out your window. You know, we got to be better than that. We got to be more proud than that. So there's a trash can everywhere you go, every restaurant, every store, every gas station, at your home. You can't go anywhere that they don't supply a trash can for you. Stop throwing your trash out on our streets. So that's it.
John, do you have
and thank you from Morris Bank for supporting our recreation department. That's awesome.
Mr. Pitts,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I do want to ask the board. State Farm, they gave us a $3,000 grant for our inclusive playground. They asked if the board could take a picture in front of the inclusive playground. So if everybody was trying to check their schedule and find a day that we can go out there and take a picture in front of the playground, they would greatly appreciate that. And another thing I want to make just as an announcement to the community so they know what's going on. We're having a town hall meeting concerning the T-Splosh. And it's just an informative educational event on April the 19th at the W-Knott Civic Center at 6 o'clock. And it's just an opportunity for people to come, learn, ask questions, and become better informed about the T-Splosh. And that's it, Mr. Chairman.
While we're on trash, we need to check. I've had one of our citizens bring me a flyer from Valdosta where they were having a tire forgiveness day. They actually got a grant we might want to look into where the community could bring tires. They couldn't bring commercial tires, but they could bring tires in on that one day for free. And it was covered with some grant. And in fact, I'll get the flyer and bring it to you. But I thought it was real nice that the community, we had somebody within the community come forward. So y'all might want to look at this as far as possibly looking down the road as possible grant that we can have a tire forgiveness day because Jerry, how many tires would you say you hauled off Saturday? A couple hundred? Yeah. No, I saw a bunch. So I seen a pickup truck load like
37, Jim. That's right.
37. Excuse me. I didn't know. I was cooking. One reason we had good attendance, they had a gourmet cookout there. You got to remember.
I will say that Chairman had his apron on and he was going to town cooking for us.
So that was a big draw for this thing, and I'll be glad to do it again next year.
Cooking and photobombing pictures. He was done wide open that day.
All right, going for it. Any citizens? Anybody else like to come forward? Come on. Mr. Mayor, come.
Warm it up. Yeah. You just want to touch the trophy.
Ed Barbie, Mayor, City of Gray. The city really enjoyed partnering with the county this past Saturday. The bad thing about this trophy, the joke was, who had the most trash in their neighborhood? Okay. But seriously, we had a good time. The gourmet cook, he couldn't make it, so like I say, Commissioner Winder filled in for him. But another thing is, this Saturday is Daylily Festival. Starts at 10 o'clock at the Pecan Orchard, so I'd like to invite all of y'all to that. And there again, good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for all y'all's support.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else?
Need my name again?
Welcome back, Mr. Payne. We've missed you.
Okay. I forgot to sign in on the insurance. Things were said here tonight that were a little bit different than what I had anticipated. But anyway, initially what I learned from the last meeting was they assigned a contractor to present results or data every quarter, and that hadn't been done, I assume. And it didn't appear here tonight. Is that correct?
They're supposed to have been submitted, but we need to look for them because we haven't,
So you still do not have it from.
Well, we had a turnover in HR, so we're going to look and see if we can't get the updated.
Well, I've only been here 4 years, but it's been the same players in the insurance. I think one time there was another broker in here. Maybe they were ACCG. But we have not had any competition. Why is this? I mean, the one thing I kept hearing under the prior commission that would be said here was that the brokers would come to the hospital, hold your hand, and do such and such. Well, if they're doing that, they got to be making a lot of money. I mean, that's not normal business for insurance companies. Mine didn't come to the hospital not in December. I didn't see anybody. Mm-hmm. So nobody was holding my hand, walking me through it.
Right.
But the point is, we have beat this horse for 4 years. And there are no brokers here. Why don't we have 3 brokers up here giving us a bid? I gathered from what I could hear of all of the conversation, and I am not anywhere in insurance. Believe me, that is not my forte. I know nothing about it. But I gathered that at a point, companies will accept a renewal and then give a price. And this all happens within a very short period of time.
Mr. Payne, I will tell you, not trying to interrupt you, but we vowed on this, and we will be looking at options. I mean, we're going to explore it. This ain't going to be just a one-time fix.
Well, you're welcome to interrupt me. I mean, what is the deadline of buying the insurance? What date does that have to be done?
I guess we're 2 months from renewal now, but we will be looking at it.
You have 2 months. 2 months to rustle up some more brokers. Is that what we understand?
Well, we got 2 months to figure out what our renewal is going to be. But we vowed, and I think Commissioner Kitchen, we vowed that we will be, this isn't going to be a one-time deal. We are going to look in. I mean, just like anything with this county, we're going to make sure we're getting what we're getting the best for the constituents.
Well, Chairman, my question right now, you say you got 2 months to do the renewal, but I mean, don't you have to have other brokers in play coming along so they can all walk in here on the same day with the same set of rules and present their price?
Right. I tell you what, if you like, I mean, I'm not trying to cut short. I'd be glad to sit down and talk with you, Mr. Payne, spend all the time in the world.
No, I don't really want to talk about it. I want y'all to bring in some brokers and get some more prices.
Sure.
I mean,
we had 5 brokers that bid last year this time. So we signed.
How did I miss those?
What's that?
How did I miss those? And we got the cheapest here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already done that process, and
that's why I don't understand why everybody's.
You don't pull the foot out of my mouth when it was halfway up.
Sure. What's that?
You could have pulled the foot out of my mouth before it was halfway up.
Well, you're fine, but we will look into it again. I promise you. For the best interest of the constituents, this is something we're going to be looking into. But we did go through the process. We spent weeks, actually about
weeks and hours.
3 weeks. Well, last year this time, right after we got back from Savannah, when we started this process of going through and going through brokers, and we will be doing that again to make sure we're getting the best we can for this county. So, yeah, we
appreciate your time.
Hey, no problem. Anyone else?
Howard Lancaster, 460 Highway 22, Gray, Georgia. Yeah, I was just looking at this Jones County Trails Phase 2 at 6 locations. Where is Phase 1 location and where are these 6 locations?
Mr. Risner, can you answer that? This is something that's been going on quite some time. It's a grant that goes back to what date?
2011.
This is BC, before Chris, right?
Before Chris, yeah, BC.
So I'm not sure exactly where phase 1 was. Marge might remember.
Phase 1 is out of Highway 18 East, and it's going.
The Rec Complex, wasn't it?
Yeah, Rec
Complex of Middle School.
Mm-hmm.
It's out.
Okay, all right, I remember that. I remember. Okay, go ahead.
So this one will pick up where that one left off. It'll run in front of the middle school. It'll run in front of the LDS church there, all the way to the intersection where Bilcon Parkway comes into 18. Originally, it was planned to go and cross the railroad tracks. They ran into an issue with the railroad, so it's going to stop there. It'll pick up on the other side of the railroad tracks. It'll go out to the high school.
Go by the library.
Yes, sir, and it'll come back into town.
Okay, I'm with you now. I couldn't remember.
Sure.
This is the sidewalk.
Yes,
plan.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, this
You
goes
said
back to
sidewalk
2011.
plan, you know. But okay,
Hey, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
If there's anyone else? Not, I think we've had a great meeting tonight. Commissioner Pitts, we need a motion to adjourn to go into executive session tonight.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
For personnel.
Personnel. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Next Thursday, it was moved, the last one had conflict.